Hello, good sir.
What up, dog?
You sound a whole lot better. Your microphone sounds tutto bene.
Tutto bene? That's
Hmm.
good. Well, I appreciate that. I've been doing some voice exercises as well.
Yeah,
The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. The arsonist has oddly shaped feet. Unique New York.
mm,
Unique New York.
it's good.
Great Odin's Raven. Um,
You're going to be a professional
so
podcaster in no time.
yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Maybe 200 more episodes and we'll get there. We'll get halfway there. Hey, so interesting. It's kind of like a dad win, unintentional. So there's a
Dad,
dad
a
win in
dad
this.
fail turned into a
There's
dad
a
win,
dad
kind of.
fail turned into a dad win, an unintentional revelation that I experienced this past weekend.
I want to hear
And
about it.
what happened was, so we've been taking, as you know, we've been taking our kids up to the mountains every weekend and getting snowboarding, skiing and all that and having them do, I say hard things, right? For them, getting up early, getting out in the cold and testing their legs out and just continuing to go down the mountain apparently is hard for my children. I think it's amazing and I think it's fun. But that being said, so this weekend was awesome. Sunday was phenomenal. We had a blast and I was with my little guy. My dad went, so he had my middle dude and they were just crushing whatever they were crushing. And then Erica was boarding with Maya. So I take my little guy down. He wants to go down the park. And I'm like, fine, dude, if you want to go to the park, you go to the park. He's not hitting the big, he's like jumping off these little jumps. He's 6, right? And so he's in his mind, he's probably catching some air, doing some stuff, whatever. We have fun. And then at the end of those, then you have to get down to the rest of the mountain. So I saw a different run. I'm like, oh, I want to go hit that. And so I take him over to a different part of the mountain. And apparently there is on the map, and I've seen signs for it at other places, but there's no signs at this part of the mountain. You're kind of midway down, but there's this green run that's just a different green run I want to take him on. Well, there's also a black diamond right next to it. And so,
Let me
so
guess, you missed the turn.
yeah, I missed a turn. And we end up on this awesome, like I was like, this, I need to come back to this. But it starts with bump, it's a bump run. So there's moguls. My little dude's never done moguls. And I'm like, and we're there. So like you got to do it. So I'm just being encouraged. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, man, you're crushing it. Let's do it. But in my mind, I'm like, this is kind of this is I don't know how this could turn out. If he falls, it could be whatever. He's not going to enjoy this. Dude, he crushed the bumps, goes down, right? He goes down the bumps. And then we end up at this other part and it is steep, dude. Like this big, super steep, and it's kind of icy drop. And I was like, dude, this would be fun. This would be a fun run to just bomb. But I'm with my little guy, and we're not going to go bombing down this run. And so he's like basically in pizza mode going down. So his legs must have been just completely toasted. But he did it and he did it awesome. And we got to the bottom. He was like, oh, yeah, damn, my legs are a little tired. And I was like, I bet they are, buddy. You want to go
Yeah.
back up? And he said, oh, yeah, we could go back up. We'll go back up for one more run. And I was super stoked. But as I reflected on it, the dad fail being like, how do you go? You're trying to find a green and you put your 6-year-old on a black diamond and a pretty legit black diamond. Super steep, lots of bumps, and it just was one of those. But as I reflected on it, no complaints from him. He was with his daddy. He just wanted to be with me. He didn't want to go with anybody else that day. And we had a blast, man. He was laughing and I was just encouraging him like, man, you did awesome, dude. You crushed that. And he was proud. And I got word from the school. He's my shy guy, right? He's the guy that he's not like me or Erica. He's not extroverted. He's super shy. People talk to him. He's like, he doesn't, he's that kid. And apparently at school, he's telling all his buddies, I went down a black diamond with my daddy and this and that. He's talking to the teacher about this adventure that we went on together and this accomplishment that he achieved. And what I find interesting is when I say inadvertent, I wish I would have thought to I mean, there's probably an element of irresponsibility to putting to putting your kids
Yeah.
on on runs that are more advanced than they're ready for. But the fact of the matter is that he did it. He did something hard and legitimately hard, a little bit dangerous. Like this thing was so steep. It's one of those that if you fall on it, dude, you're sliding on your butt for 300 yards. Like I mean, you're going the entire way down. You won't be able to stop. And so that's what would have happened if he fell. And it was, and he did it, and he felt a sense of accomplishment. He felt great. And and while I was a little bit worried when it got super steep, we just made it happen. And he was proud of himself. And it made me question how many times I make excuses for my kids to not excel and do something hard. How often am I holding them back with this false sense of fear? And yeah, maybe there's some danger to it, but it's snowboarding, man. It's skiing. Like there's going to be some shady stuff, right? And so it just was very impactful for me as a lesson to be more intentional, to question what I'm holding my kids back from, because they can do vastly more. I believe, I don't want to speak for anybody else. My kids, my children can do vastly more than I give them credit for.
Oh, I think all kids
And
can, dude.
this was a moment. Oh, and I agree. I just don't want to speak for anybody else's parenting or,
Yeah.
their situation. I'm just saying unequivocally, my kids can handle way more than I give them credit for. And the part that's most impactful to me is how much pride and joy am I robbing them of to be able to tell the story that me and my daddy did at Black Diamond, for a
Yeah,
very
man.
shy, introverted kid to be talking about that with all his buddies at school.
Yeah, that's super impactful. I didn't in unintentionally enroll my kids in jujitsu, but I had a buddy who stayed with us for a while. He was a Navy SEAL. He lived with us in our basement for a little bit, and he was big into jujitsu. And he kept on talking to my kids about jujitsu. And we finally got to the point where, like, you know what? We're just gonna sign our kids up. My kids have no idea what jujitsu is about. I've never done jujitsu. I wrestled a little bit in high school, but um, we just kind of threw them into the lion's den, and they have been showing up for about a month now, and just getting their butts kicked. Like they'll go, they're like the the brand new white belt, no stripes, no nothing, and they spar. They get paired up and spar with kids. And I was watching my daughter this week, and like she was literally just getting like arm barred, tapped out in like 2 seconds from this kind of other kid who's been in it for a while. But she just kept on getting up, and she just kept on getting after it. And man, I was really proud of her, because she's similar to Noah. She's kind of the shy one, kind of an introvert. But she was getting after it, and she was doing hard things. And they both earned their first stripe this week. And the pride, the look on their
That's
face
awesome, dude.
once they got their first stripe on their belt was like, it was magical, man. Like it was magical,
Mm-hmm.
because they knew that they were doing something hard, and they accomplished their first, stripe on their belt. And I think it's important, man. I think it's important for us to allow our kids to do hard things. And also I think it's really important for them to see us do hard things. This whole mirroring thing is real, for them to see us go do something hard, and to talk to them about like things that we're doing, us going and climbing 14ers, and working out and PT and coming up from the basement all sweaty and nasty, and like that makes an impact on them in a really positive way. And so I would encourage those that are listening to this to let go a little bit, to let your kids go and do some hard things. I think it's really important. Because I think in a world right now we're holding on too tight, we're coddling a little bit too much. Um, so yeah, it's good stuff, man.
Well, yeah,
Love it.
and I think if we are high achieving, growth minded individuals, we want that in our life. We want to do hard things. we want to face challenges and overcome and come out the backside stronger. And maybe we're a little more worn. Maybe we got a couple more scars, but I'll tell you, man, I love, like, my kids, I got a lot of scars from a lot of things. And a lot, sometimes my kids will be sitting there and like, Daddy, what's that from? Oh, Daddy, what's that from? And I tell them stories about these different scars. And that's more intriguing to them than, oh, Daddy, your smooth skin on your face is so
Yeah.
is radiating. I don't care about that, man. They care about cool scars, man. They care about battle wounds. And that's my daughter, that's both my sons. And so, I would encourage, think about this stuff. Be intentional and consider what you want your life to look like. And then what does that look like in your children's life? How do you create those opportunities for them? How do you let them do things? Because you don't want to raise, these children who turn into soft adults that have never challenged themselves and they can't face adversity. Nobody wants that for their kids. Nobody. So let's do something about it, right? Let's do something about it. Let's do hard things. And again, I am not advocating that you take your second year skiers down black diamonds that are particularly when there's no powder and it's kind of icy and they're very steep. But then again, why not? Why not? If you think they can handle it. And I knew, seeing him, we've been going a lot. I knew when we were up there that he could handle it. I did not fear that he was going to get hurt. It was just going to be very challenging. And it was. And he crushed it. And it's awesome.
Love it, dude. Fires me up.
Yeah, good stuff. Your kids are going to be choking you out before you know it, man.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
love jiu-jitsu. Great sport. Love that your kids are doing that. So rad.
Yeah, man. All right. Good stuff. Not so dumb. Pretty deep.
Not at all. It was very deep. Very deep. Challenge yourself. Do some fun stuff with your kids.
That's right.
Don't be soft. Get
Do
some.
it. Bye.
Yeah. Shoot.